This is a GR Yaris, and sadly no, it's not my car. Aww. The car I own is a 2024 Subaru WRX, but during my recent trip to Japan, I had the opportunity to rent this Yaris for 4 days. And as an enthusiast of turbo, all-wheel drive, manual Japanese cars, I couldn't resist. So in this video, I'll do a walk around of the mighty GR Yaris and then do a POV drive full of turbo goodness around beautiful Okinawa, Japan, with my driving impressions as a WRX owner. Before we get into it, I'm Sep, a car enthusiast making videos for car enthusiasts like yourselves, so feel free to subscribe to get your weekly dose of YouTube car content. Starting off at the front end of the Yaris, and it has this mean look to it. That's thanks to the sharply angled headlights with an LED brow bordering the housing, plus it comes with a 3-tiered main bulb system. Looking down to the lower bumper, there is a lot going on, a lot of vents, some functional, some not, but you can clearly see the front mount intercooler back below the lower grille, and of course you can see the GR badge as well. Looking over to the side, the Yaris is equipped with 18-inch alloy wheels, and beyond that we see 4-pot aluminum calipers and ventilated discs. The rear wheels are similarly set up, but with 2-pot calipers. One of my most favorite things about this car is how Toyota set up the stance of this hot hatch. They made sure that they added appropriate size fenders that gave this car a wide body hot hatch stance, very reminiscent of a true WRC car. Looking up to the roof, it's made out of a forged carbon material, making it track ready. The rear end looks just as good as the front end, with the rear fenders really showing that wide body look. The GR Yaris and the GR4 badge is shown on the rear hatch, letting you know this isn't your basic Yaris. Finishing off the rear end is the dual exit exhaust, because one is never enough. Now under the hood is the inline 3-cylinder turbocharged G16E GTS engine, and it pushes around 280 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. And those numbers are plenty for a tiny hot hatch like this. Now let's move into the interior, and this is where the econo car roots start to show. The seats are not particularly sporty, besides the GR badge on the headrest of course, but otherwise they're not super bolstered and don't hug you that well around corners. The best thing about this interior is the driver focus setup. When I was looking at photos and videos of this car, I thought this new infotainment setup was kind of ugly and looked like an afterthought with this squared off bulky look. But when you're actually sitting in it and experiencing the gauges and the infotainment and how everything is laid out, it's perfect. It's like a fighter jet cockpit and seems like a homage to the Mark IV Supra. The steering wheel is leather wrapped with stitching and has a nice feel to it, just the right size for spirited driving. The gauges are really high resolution, they're very responsive, no lag at all, and they're also simply laid out. There's a lot of digital gauges nowadays that have a lot of information packed into a screen, and it can be very distracting for the driver, but as you can see here, Toyota put the speed and also your tachometer right in the middle where your eyes will be focusing on for the most part. Then switching in between modes, you can see that the whole layout changes to be even more driver focused, where you can see your rev count without really looking down at it. Before driving the Yaris, my personal preference was analog gauges. However, this digital dash really impressed me to the point that I'd be happy to take these gauges in my car any day. Now the Toyota infotainment is fantastic. I'm using wireless Apple CarPlay here and it never disconnected for the 4 days I was driving it. The screen itself, again, is really high res. It felt like there was an iPad built into the screen. It was that good, extremely responsive. And as you can see here, I could drag around the map on Google Maps with very little delay. Below the infotainment, you can see the HVAC controls. Apologies, it's a little cut off here, but it's great that none of the air conditioning or heating is buried in the infotainment. And below that, you can see your all-wheel drive mode selector, whether it be track mode, normal, or gravel, and then your drive modes to the left of that. And then above that drive mode selector, you have your IMT, where that engages your auto rev match. Down to the center console, there are cubby, 2 cup holders, and of course the manual e-brake. No armrest unfortunately though. Sitting behind myself, I do have a few inches of leg room, but I am short, so if you're taller than, let's say, 5'10", then this back seat is not going to be very usable for passengers. Opening up the trunk, there's not a whole ton of space, so you definitely have to fold down the rear seats to get extra room if you're hauling things around. You might be able to fit 1 or 2 carry-on luggage, but that's pretty much it. Underneath the carpet here, you can see the battery and all the tools you need to fix a flat but no spare tire. Overall, the interior of the GR Yaris is a no fuss, no nonsense deal. It's all function over form. Yes, it doesn't have the best material, but it doesn't matter because Toyota knows the people buying this car aren't looking for all the creature comforts that provide a luxury experience. They want a visceral, driver-focused experience, and this interior is set up to do exactly that. Okay, now for the driving section. The way this car drives is special, guys. It has this go-kart feeling that unfortunately the WRX does not have to the same extent. Acceleration is explosive. Under 3000 RPM, there isn't much punch, but once you get past that, it rips hard all the way to redline. It was very similar to how the last gen STI accelerated, where there's really nothing at the lower RPMs, but then the mid-range pulls like a freight train. This type of power delivery is really satisfying and exciting to drive, especially around the winding turns. It makes the driving engagement really fun, as you are forced to keep that turbo on boil in the mid-range to keep that acceleration up. Based on my Google searches, acceleration times show that the GR Yaris is faster from 0 to 100 km per hour than my WRX by around 1 second. And stock for stock, it definitely felt faster than my VB WRX, but that's just based on my pushed into the seat feeling, so take that with a grain of salt. My WRX tuned is definitely faster than this Yaris, but stock for stock, the Yaris would walk it. Overall, I'm impressed at the characteristics of this 3-cylinder G16E engine, and I think Toyota building upon this with a new 4-cylinder G20E model will be even better and faster. Now let's talk about handling, and I have to be brutally honest. The Yaris is on a different level when it comes to handling. Although the WRX has a stiff chassis and Subaru's vehicle dynamic control and torque vectoring, it's not as good as what the GR Yaris comes equipped with. The Yaris has Torsen limited slip diffs front and rear. The torque split varies from 60-40 to 30-70, which provides really good entry and exit grip around corners. It felt planted around bends and rotated in such a predictable and confidence-inspiring way that made me want to push it even more. When I mentioned go-kart feeling earlier, the Yaris is significantly lighter than the VB WRX, coming in at 2,822 pounds, whereas the WRX is almost 600 pounds heavier, around 3,400 pounds. The Yaris is smaller dimensionally but also has weight-saving material, such as aluminum for the doors and hood. The roof is made out of a forged carbon material, which helps reduce the car's center of gravity. When it comes to steering, it's responsive and provides good feedback from the road, and does feel a lot less numb than what the WRX has. Shifting feels good, nothing that really wowed me in particular though. Comparing it to the WRX, it is definitely a different shift feel, but neither stand out to be better than the other. The one thing that I surprisingly enjoyed is using the auto rev match feature. I thought it would be annoying for something to take control of the throttle, but honestly it rev matched nearly perfectly every time, and once I turned the feature on, I kept it on. I do wish the WRX had this feature available. Sounds from the Yaris are great. On the inside, you can hear some noises from the intake, which reminds you that it has turbocharged goodness under the hood. My WRX barely has any intake noises, but obviously that can be fixed in the aftermarket. The exhaust of the Yaris does sound sporty, but personally for me, I still prefer the Subaru Boxer growl out of the FA24. My final impressions on the GR Yaris. Comparing it to my WRX stock for stock, it's a better performing car. And it's no surprise, it has more motorsport oriented features that the WRX does not have at all. Also, we can't forget that the GR Yaris is Toyota's homologation car for the WRC, so although the WRX stands for World Rally Experimental, the Yaris is arguably more of a rally car for the street than the WRX is. Personally, if the GR Yaris was available in North America, what would I choose between that and the VB WRX? It depends. If the unlikely chance that both cars are priced similarly, then it would be hard to choose, because I am a Subaru fanatic, but at the same time, the GR Yaris is a riot to drive. However, if the Yaris is priced similarly to the GR Corolla, which is more expensive than the VB WRX, then I still take the WRX. It's still a fun car to drive and has a more established aftermarket community that can make it very fast for not a whole lot of money. On that note, let me know down in the comments, would you buy a GR Yaris if it was available where you lived? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I will now leave you with some raw POV driving with some engine bay audio from the mighty GR Yaris. Hope you guys enjoyed.